Adrian Newey has been called the greatest car designer the sport has ever seen. But is he really all that? If you ask a few people around the paddock, they would say no, and that includes people from his own camp. Let's start the Adrian Newey smear campaign with Red Bull's very own Sergio Perez. Sergio Perez highly respects Adrian Newey, but cautions that the big teams will consistently thrive, noting Red Bull's readiness for his departure. Confirming ongoing rumours, it was announced on Wednesday that Newey will depart Red Bull after the first quarter of 2025. However, he will primarily focus on their RB17 hypercar project rather than Formula One for the remainder of his time with the team. Newey, considered one of Formula One's legendary designers, played a crucial role in Red Bull's ascent to dominance during the ground effect era. His departure has led to speculation about Red Bull's ability to maintain their position without him. Despite this, Perez is confident that Red Bull will manage well. While losing Newey is not ideal, Perez emphasises that their success doesn't hinge on one individual alone. It's obviously, I will say, not ideal someone like Adrian leaving. He has been tremendous to our team, to our organisation, Perez told media ahead of the Miami Grand Prix. And he's a very good friend of mine as well in this time that we spent together. But at the end of the day, there are times in life, I think he spent like 20 years at Red Bull. I think he probably wants to do something else. And it's fair. I think Red Bull, it's in a great place, has a very good, very strong organisation with Pierre Guachet, technical director, with Enrico Balbo, aerodynamics chief, with Ben Waterhouse, head of performance engineering. I think the whole aero group is very strong and we're just looking forward to the future. I think you have seen in the past with these big teams, big names, when they leave, they will always succeed. It doesn't matter. It's not down to one single individual. It's a whole organisation, and I think Christian Horner, team principal, has done a great job in sort of preparing for the next generation of what's going to happen to Red Bull. Perez mentioned that there were internal signals hinting at Newey's potential departure, but he also emphasised the collective effort behind Red Bull's success. Obviously, he's a key part to our organisation, and there were some talks of it, and obviously once it gets public, it's much more in advance, said Perez. I think also Christian and the whole team has been preparing for one day you're going to lose any single individual. It's a big organisation, and as strong as he is a key player to our organisation, there is a massive team around him as well. With Newey stepping back from his role at Red Bull F1, there's speculation about other prominent figures leaving as well. But Perez is confident that this isn't a concern for Red Bull. When asked about fearing more departures from the team, Perez confirmed that it's not something he's worried about. He said, "I don't think so. I think everyone is fully committed to the team. We're having a tremendous season once again. The future looks bright in team. So I think it's normal that you have this sort of movement within some people. But I think the organisation remains really strong, and I don't see any more changes in that regard." Newey's track record of designing championship-winning cars for Williams, McLaren and Red Bull makes him a highly sought-after figure by other teams. Perez acknowledges that Newey could have an immediate impact if he were to join another team, but he reiterates that achieving Red Bull's level of success requires a collective effort, indicating that Newey alone couldn't replicate Red Bull's dominance elsewhere. Well, definitely Adrian. With the experience he has, obviously he has contributed a lot to the Red Bull philosophy, said Perez. So yeah, I assume he will cause an immediate impact wherever he goes, whatever he does. He's a very clever guy, very hard worker, and with Adrian working with him, it's much more than a designer. He can influence even strategies set up. He could have that influence on a race weekend, so to have him around on race weekends was great. He is obviously a very strong individual guy that wherever he goes, he will cause an immediate impact. But obviously, it's a whole group of people that he will require to have around him as well. David Coulthard had a close working relationship with Adrian Newey throughout his racing career, collaborating with him at Williams, McLaren and later at Red Bull before retiring. Newey's designs have contributed to a total of 25 drivers and constructors titles, with 13 of those achieved during his tenure at Red Bull. This track record has raised concerns about the impact of losing Newey as Red Bull's technical leader and what it means for the team's future success. Team principal Christian Horner has highlighted the depth of talent within Red Bull's technical department following Adrian Newey's departure. David Coulthard agreed with this sentiment, recognising that while Newey's exit is major news, it could also be a moment to reflect on and celebrate the incredible achievements he has helped Red Bull accomplish during his time with the team. What I think is remarkable, actually, like everything nowadays is like breaking news, It's always sort of released as if it's a tsunami or something that is a world-defining event, Coulthard said on the Formula for Success podcast. Obviously, in terms of the sport, it's big news when anyone decides to move, whether it was Lewis going to Ferrari or whether it's Adrian allegedly stopping working with Red Bull. But I take the view that given that I know that nothing lasts forever, especially in sporting terms, it's actually been a wonderful period of time. 18 years. I think the journey that he's been on with the team, that's the majority of his racing design career actually, and definitely more than he's been with any other team. So I see that as a celebration rather than, oh my goodness, he's leaving the home. Addressing Eddie Jordan. You know, you've got 4 kids, you need your kids to leave home, you need people to move on in life for it to have any sort of evolution. During the podcast, Eddie Jordan, a co-host and former team owner, who played a role in Newey's discussions with Red Bull as the manager of the Chief Technology Officer, commended Red Bull for their accomplishments and the extended tenure of key personnel in top positions within the organisation. He responded to Coulthard by saying, "You're precisely right. I'm staggered that, and it shows the measure of the man and the way maybe Red Bull is run because for the size of it, and I think it is still a family union, family bond, and that goes to the heart of it. You know, the Austrians, for example, with Didi Mateschitz when he was there, he created that atmosphere. He was a shy man, but he was very influential in how the team was run. And you, Coulthard, would know that more than most because you drove there. They're not a manufacturer team, they still have different engines, whether it be Honda, which is what they have now, and whatever they're going to in the future. We hear about Ford, and so that will be their connection. So as a full-blown manufacturer, what they've achieved in this time has been remarkable. And I applaud people like Adrian, like Christian Horner, and all of those people who are able to go the distance and stay at the distance, because that in itself is a mighty job. You cannot expect people at this level of pressure to be able to stay unified together, which the Red Bull people have. A possible cause for Newey's departure is speculated to be a rift in his relationship with Christian Horner. This speculation arose after the long-serving team principal had an investigation into his conduct dismissed in February. Horner has been vocal in praising various members of Red Bull's technical team, such as technical director Pierre Wasch in recent times. But his comments have reportedly upset Newey's wife Amanda, because he has been speaking in a way that takes away from Newey's contributions. Here's what he said. Adrian is a big part of this team and big part of what we've achieved. But of course, his role has evolved over the last few years, and the technical team beneath him, led by Pierre Wasch, they're doing a wonderful job, and so that they're not reliant on Adrian. He has the ability to come in, come out and work on other projects, and I think that's part of the evolution of any team. With all that said, should we even make a big deal out of Adrian Newey leaving Red Bull? Tell us in the comments section down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks for watching.